Okay, I know you don't want to send him away, so I have a new plan to save Lil Bill.
Great, what is it?
We're gonna kill him.
Murderer!
Anyone find the key?
Oh, totally. I actually found it an hour ago. I'm just digging through the freezing cold snow because I love the feeling of full body numbness.
Guys, my hands can't feel my face not feeling my hands.
I'm so tired, child. I would die. I'm so tired. I'm really tired.
Hello everyone, I hope you all are happy and healthy. So, it's been a long time since I've done an official video, huh? I've been wanting to get back to making videos. There have been at least a few videos that I've been wanting to post on my channel. However, things obviously didn't go as planned because of me getting easily distracted, as well as having some things in my personal life that I needed to focus on. I originally wanted to come back with a huge analysis / deep dive video that I wanted to do on the whole show, but that is taking quite a while because, like I said, I plan on the video being very long. The video might be an hour or even 2 hours long, so it'll be a while before that video will come out. But in the spirit of talking about Bunk'd and in the spirit of Christmas, I thought, hey, why not review the new Christmas episode? I originally wanted to do an episode by episode review of season 7, but I just haven't had the time. So I'm going to wait and give an overall review of season 7 in the huge commentary video on the whole show that I'm working on. However, I'm glad that today that I'll at least get to talk about one episode this season. And boy, does this episode give me a lot to talk about. Like, I did not think I would have this much to say about a Christmas episode, but the Bunk'd writers did such a great job with this one. Which, by the way, shout out to all the writers and producers who work on this show, including but not limited to Valerie Ahern, Eric Shar, Christian L. Scott, which we have those three to thank for writing this amazing episode, as well as Miranda May, Aaron Dunlap, David Booth, Mike Montesano, and Ted Zizek. Oh my goodness, I know I butchered your name so bad. Please forgive me, I'm sorry, but please know that I love all of the writing that you've done. Thank you for all of your hard work on this show, and also thank you to all the actors on the show as well. So anyways, now before I talk about the episode, I should warn you guys that there will be spoilers for this episode, so definitely watch the episode first if you haven't already. It's a good one, I promise, and you can watch it for free on Disney now, so definitely go watch it. Okay, now that that is out of the way, we can officially start the review. So, what is this episode about? Well, there are 3 different storylines going on in this episode, and that's pretty much the case for every episode. So anyways, this episode starts off with Lou announcing that she won a ski chalet after winning a game of goldfish, which, wow, that sounds very unrealistic that someone would just win a whole ski chalet in a card game, but moving past that. So yeah, Lou now has this property in the mountains, and she invites Parker to check out the place with her. Now, ever since Lou announced that she won the chalet, Parker just doesn't seem very happy, which is strange for the guy since he's usually so upbeat and doesn't let anything get him down. Parker tries to refuse to go, saying that he should stay to work on the holiday celebration that they're having later that night. But Lou keeps being persistent for him to go, so Parker reluctantly agrees to go, and Jake goes with them too. So the first storyline involves the 3 going to the chalet in the mountains. The other storyline is about Noah and Bill being in charge of preparing for the feast for the celebration, but they think that Lou has given them a live turkey to cook, and they try to do everything that they can to ensure that nothing happens to the turkey. And the last storyline is about Scout, which, if you don't know, Scout is a new character that they added in season 7 of Bunk'd. She's not quite a main character as she doesn't appear in every episode, but she's the closest thing to a main character because she does live in Mustang Cabin with two of the other main characters after all. And also, Scout can actually talk to and understand animals, so keep that in mind too. Anyways, Scout tells Destiny and Winnie that she told her friends that they were Santa's elves, and so she told them that so she can impress them. So Destiny and Winnie, they think it's weird, but they agree to go along with it so that they can help Scout impress her friends, which end up being none other than Santa's reindeer. So, okay, now I will talk about the other 2 storylines briefly, but I'm going to mainly focus on the Lou and Parker storyline since that seems to be the main storyline of the episode and is the storyline that gives me the most to talk about. So as I said earlier, Lou, Parker, and Jake visit the ski chalet. However, things get sidetracked when they lose the key to the building in the snow twice and they get stuck outside. And Lou is trying to be optimistic and wants to give them a tour of the property despite all the setbacks, which one of the setbacks is Parker falling into the frozen pond. However, despite Lou trying to remain optimistic, Parker continues to be uncharacteristically unhappy. Lou finally calls Parker out for being in a bad mood, and that's when he says,
Oh, I'm sorry, I just must have left my good mood at the bottom of the frozen pond.
Of course, that's not the real reason Parker is so upset. Lou even mentions that, bringing up how she noticed how gloomy Parker was back at camp when she first mentioned the chalet. So finally, Parker tells the truth behind his bad mood, and goodness gracious, this is when I start to get emotional.
I figured you got this place to turn into a camp, which means you're gonna have to leave the ranch to run it. You're probably gonna be spending most of your time up here, and I'm happy for you, but I'm just not gonna see you as much, which bums me out. Because you're the best friend and coworker I've ever had.
Wow, that was so powerful. Academy Award.
And let me tell you, when it finally sunk in that the reason Parker was so moody in the whole episode is because he thought Lou was leaving and was going to miss her, it just hit me right in the heart. Like I mentioned before, Parker is rarely upset about anything. Even when he was offended that when he was taking dance lessons from someone else in a season 6 episode, he still tried to pretend to be happy. But when it came to the thought of not spending as much time with Lou, he couldn't even pretend to be happy. Y'all, Parker really does care about Lou so much.
I don't want to be getting emotional up in here.
And what happens next will blow your mind. After Parker admits that he's upset because he'll miss her, Lou informs him that she is indeed wanting to expand the Kikiwaka franchise and wants to turn the chalet into a camp, but during the winter season. And not only that, she reveals that she's not going to run it, but rather Parker is. Y'all, I could not believe that they would reveal something this significant to the story in a Christmas episode of all things. And see, I usually don't care for Christmas episodes because they're normally filler episodes where nothing important happens that will affect the whole story of the show. But the writers decided to do something completely unexpected for this Christmas episode, and I commend them for that. This episode is surprisingly the least predictable episode in the season so far because I just did not see this coming at all. So yeah, Lou tells Parker that she wants him to run the camp in the winter and that he'll still be able to be activities director back at Kikiwaka Ranch in the summer, so he won't have to worry about not being able to spend as much time with Lou anymore. Actually, this opens up the possibility of Lou and Parker spending more time together if she decides to stick around with him while he's running the new camp. Of course, Parker has to decide whether or not he will take her offer to run the camp. This has been something he has always wanted to do, but he tells Lou that he doesn't know if he's ready, to which Lou replies that he's grown so much since he's joined them at Kikiwaka, and that he's definitely ready, that she knows it and he knows it. And my goodness, to hear Lou say that just made me even more emotional. I mean, compare this to season 5 where she barely trusted Parker to keep the campers safe for one day, but now in season 7 she thinks he's ready to run his own camp. Like, that's just so beautiful.
I don't want to be getting emotional up in here.
Anyways, Parker eventually decides to accept the offer to run the camp, and then they both celebrate, well, for a moment, until they realize that they're still stuck out in the snow. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but earlier in the episode, the bus that they apparently traveled to the mountains, I guess that's how they traveled to the mountains in a bus, and basically when they were about to leave, the bus fell down. They found out that the bus fell down to the bottom of the mountain, so they have like no way back to the ranch. So yeah, but then Scout and the others find Lou, Parker, and Jake, and with the help of Santa's sleigh and reindeers, they're able to rescue them, and then they're able to go back to the ranch for the holiday celebration. So yeah, that's the end of that storyline, and wow, what a storyline it is. Like I said earlier, finding out that Lou will start another camp and allow Parker to run it was something I did not expect to happen in this episode. Now, some people have guessed that eventually Parker would be a camp director at some point, assuming that Lou would allow him to run Kikiwaka Ranch if Lou would end up leaving or something. But a development like this seems like something they would save for a season finale, not a holiday episode. You know, I have a theory that since this was since this was the last episode of the season produced before the strikes happened, maybe the writers knew that this could have been the last episode of season 7 if the strikes would have taken even longer to end. So maybe they decided to rewrite this episode to include this and produced it right before the strikes ended, just in case this would be the last episode of the show. Or maybe I'm wrong, perhaps this was always how the episode was meant to be. Anyways, now we know that Parker will be running the new winter camp at some point in the future. I have been so surprised by how much development Parker is getting this season. He is the co-owner of a new restaurant in town along with Destiny. He's the mayor, yes, the actual mayor of the whole town. And now he's going to run his own camp. Like, he has seriously come so far from where he was in season 5, and he's finally achieving all the success he's wanted to, and it's amazing. Now, someone had told me something interesting, which is that if Disney would give Bunk to season 8, it would be about Parker's new camp in the mountains. And honestly, I could see Disney doing something like that. I can also see all the Bunk'd haters absolutely losing it if they do. But I'm not here to make predictions about what will happen in the rest of the season or the rest of the show. Again, that's something I'm saving for my huge commentary video. So yeah, this storyline was one of the best storylines in this season due to the major developments that happened. But in addition to that, there were some pretty funny moments too. Jake was with Lou and Parker while they were stuck in the snow, and he kept interrupting the serious moments by being so unserious, and it was extremely funny. Jake's happy-go-lucky and blissfully ignorant attitude was a huge contrast to how moody Parker was being, and I think it was a good decision to have that contrast. And it was so hilarious when right after Parker blurts out about how he's going to miss Lou, Jake shouts, "Hold on!" And for a minute you think he's finally going to say something regarding the situation with Parker. But no, he's over here talking about mints. It was just so funny. In addition to the storyline being funny, it also had what I consider to be the best Lou and Parker moments in the whole show. Now, before I start rambling on and on about exactly why those Lou and Parker moments were the best, there are 2 other storylines in this episode that I need to talk about first. The second best storyline in this episode is the one with Noah and Bill. So basically, Noah and Bill are assigned to prepare the feast for the holiday celebration. When they open the box of what they think Lou has ordered for the feast, it turns out to be a live turkey. At first, Bill doesn't hesitate about cooking a live turkey, saying it's just a natural part of life, and it's no different from eating meat when it's not alive. However, when Bill finds out that the turkey has the same name as him, he instantly has a change of heart, and with the help of Noah, he does everything he can to protect Little Bill. Yeah, they actually refer to the turkey as Little Bill. But anyways, this storyline isn't the most unique thing ever. Honestly, the first thing the storyline makes me think of is the Freebirds movie, because you know both the movie and this storyline are about saving turkeys from being eaten. But however, with that being said, there's still so many funny moments here. Bill acts like the turkey is his son, and Noah's reaction to Bill being super protective about Little Bill is funny as well. I say this all the time, but the actor who plays Noah has improved his comedic timing so much in season 6 and 7. But anyways, Noah and Bill send the turkey to the town petting zoo, but it just comes back. So that's when Noah comes up with an idea to make a fake turkey, so that way Lou will think they've cooked the turkey for the feast. However, this happens.
Oh, there he is, eating himself.
Little Bill, why are you doing that?
Isn't it obvious he's an only child and doesn't want to compete with another turkey for our affection?
How is any of that obvious?
That is funny.
I really can't take people seriously when they say that this show isn't funny, but anyways, since nothing that they came up with works to save the turkey before the feast, when it's time for the celebration, they just decide that they're ready to fight to save the turkey, and their weapons of choice are a mop and a spoon, apparently. But what do you know? It turns out to be a misunderstanding. Obviously, Lou didn't want them to cook a live turkey. Turns out that they opened the wrong box, and that the turkey was actually a rescue turkey that she was going to let live on the ranch, I think.
The only turkey I was expecting was a rescue turkey I adopted to live here.
You monster! Adopt one now?
That is funny.
So yeah, all's well that ends well, I guess. Like I said, despite the storyline being a bit predictable and simplistic, it was still so funny. And it had a lot of great jokes were in this story, and it was nice to see how much Bill cared about the turkey. And finally, the last storyline is about Winnie and Destiny pretending to be elves to help Scout impress her reindeer friends. This storyline was the weakest one to me. I wasn't as interested in the story compared to the other ones, but it still had some fun moments as well as showing the friendship that these three have. The message of the storyline was how it's important to keep your friends, it was important to help your friends, hence why Destiny and Winnie was helping Scout convince the reindeers that they're elves by doing elf stuff like making toys, even though they didn't really want to do that stuff. There was also another message about how you should just be yourself and your real friends will accept you, which when Scout admits to the reindeers that Destiny and Winnie aren't elves, they actually end up not caring about that and they continue to be her friends, which that's what Scout was worried about in the first place. Again, Scout can talk to animals and she can understand them, and most of her friends before she arrived at camp were animals, so that's why she has reindeers as friends, in case some of you who haven't been watching the show are wondering, like, yeah, and that might be confusing. But anyways, the storyline, like I said, it wasn't like my absolute favorite storyline in this episode, but it was still fun and it definitely fit the whole holiday theme of the episode. It was great to have a storyline about Scott, Winnie, and Destiny, and hopefully they'll have more storylines together soon. Okay, so now that we've discussed all of that, yes, I am going to dive a little deeper into the Lou and Parker moments. And look, if you know me, then you knew this was coming. Like, it's no secret that I am very obsessed with Lou and Parker's dynamic, so I am going to take every chance I can to talk about them, especially after the moments that they just had in this episode. So, remember how I said earlier how being in charge is something that Parker has always wanted? Well, it's true. He was literally begging Lou to allow him to be temporary camp director back in season 5, and Parker has always been someone who wants to do big things with his life. So yeah, being in charge is clearly something that Parker has wanted more than almost anything. However, I find it so telling that when Parker assumed that Lou was going to turn the ski chalet into another camp and she would leave Kikiwaka Ranch to run it, well, why wasn't the first thing to come to his mind that Lou was going to make him camp director at Kikiwaka Ranch while she's off running the new camp? Why wasn't that the first thought to pop into his head? Because I could totally see Parker jumping to conclusions and believing that Lou would finally let him be in charge of the ranch and then be so happy and excited about that. But instead, that wasn't what he was thinking. All he was thinking about was how once Lou goes off to run the new camp, that he wouldn't get to spend as much time with her. And y'all might think that this is something that I'm making up as a delusional Lou and Parker shipper, but no, it's not. It literally is what happens in the episode. I couldn't even guess why Parker was so upset when I first was watching the episode. I never even thought about Lou turning the chalet into a camp until Parker and then Lou mentioned it. And the fact that Parker was all moody throughout the episode because he thought he wouldn't get to see her as much just goes to show how much he cares about her. Also, I guess Parker figured that they don't get to see each other all that much as it is now. I mean, after all, he did mention how they only see each other 3 months out of the year in the season 7 premiere. So I guess the thought of spending even less time with her was too much to bear. If Disney doesn't let Parker and Lou end up together after all of this, then I don't know what they're thinking. Although I will say that even though I ship them, I am well aware that all of the moments here were platonic, and these moments are amazing when I look at them from a platonic perspective as well. Actually, this episode gave me the second best moments between these two. Obviously, the number one moment between these two would be the moment that hasn't happened yet, which is when the two finally start developing their relationship into a more romantic one once Victoria gets another love interest. But these Lou and Parker moments are honestly everything I've been wanting from their relationship besides the romance. I mean, Parker admitting that she's the best friend he's ever had, and truly showing that she's not just someone he's going to forget if they would ever have to go their separate ways. After all, how could Parker not have a close bond with Lou? She was the one that gave him a chance to make something out of his life when no one else would, believing in him when his wealthy family saw him as a failure. Parker honestly would not be where he is now if not for Lou. And the fact that Parker has said that she's his role model, and now his role model fully believes in him enough to allow him to run her new camp, like, just writing this script is making me emotional.
I don't want to be getting emotion up in here.
And speaking of Lou believing in him, that's another thing that makes this moment so beautiful. Lou was actually quite hard on Parker in season 5 and constantly forced him to prove himself to her, but now she totally believes in him, and that's a moment that I've been waiting for since Parker's introduction to the show. And I still can't believe that we finally got that moment. I'm just so happy I got a chance to see Lou finally realize the potential that Parker has. And maybe it's just me, but I noticed that, like, just in general, the way that Lou interacts with Parker this season is different. The only way I can describe it is that it seems like she's a lot more soft with him. Like in season 5 and even in season 6, Lou was a lot more snarky with him, constantly poking fun of him and his ability or lack thereof to do certain things. But in season 7, Lou really hasn't been like snarky with him. There hasn't been those sarcastic remarks about him. I was also very surprised that she didn't say any sarcastic comment about him becoming mayor. Like, I really thought she was going to say that the whole town will be doomed with him in charge or something. But no, there was like none of that. Of course, I don't think there's been enough time for the fact that Parker has become mayor to like truly sink in yet, but still, it's like Lou just enjoys being around him and doesn't feel the need to put up that metaphorical wall of snarky comments between them, which is just another sign that they've gotten closer. Also, to go back to Parker being upset about missing Lou if she would have left the ranch, I want to say that it's great to actually see one of the characters have like a natural human reaction to possibly never seeing some of their closest friends like ever again. As we all know, characters come and go all the time on this series, but like none of the characters really seem upset by it like at all. The only exception to this was like in the season 3 finale. We're not at the season 7 finale yet. But anyways, when Lou was upset about Emma leaving at first, in the season 3 finale, that was one moment. There was also the moment in season 6 when Winnie was worried about being best friends with Jake because she thought that once camp was over, they would just stop talking to each other, but that's about it. And maybe it's just because when characters leave, most of the time we're not even aware that they're going to leave until the next season when they're already gone. So there's no time to have the characters that are still around show sadness over not seeing their friends again. But in this case, well, Parker just automatically assumed that Lou was going to leave the ranch to go and turn the chalet into another summer camp. So we got to see his reaction to the thought of not seeing Lou as much anymore before one of them even left the show. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that it's refreshing to see one of the characters actually show that they will care about a character even after they're not around. And no, not just the end of the season moments where the characters say their sweet goodbyes, but like genuinely showing that their friendship matters, even outside of the camp. But yeah, overall, I love the Lou and Parker moments in this episode. I mean, I hope they aren't planning to wait until the season is almost over to give them another storyline together, because they really only had maybe 4 out of 12 episodes this season where they really interacted with each other, which that's the only thing that kind of undercuts moments like this, where you have Parker saying that Lou is his best friend, but then they don't even hang out for multiple episodes. So my suggestion to the writers is just to have the two hang out a little bit more, you know? But anyways, I should probably stop going on and on about the Lou and Parker moments. But yeah, so to wrap up my thoughts on that, it was just amazing. The Lou and Parker storyline had funny moments. I loved the unexpected development of Parker getting to run a camp. I absolutely adored the heart-to-heart moments Lou and Parker had here. And I am politely asking the writers to at least consider having Lou and Parker to be together. Like, the potential these two have to be a power couple is there. Y'all just gotta recognize it. But yeah, that's my review of the episode. Obviously, I love this episode so much, and I highly recommend watching it. It's definitely one of my favorite Christmas episodes ever. I don't think I loved a Christmas episode this much in a long time. Let me know your thoughts on this episode, and please go watch the episode on Disney now while it's still there. Anyways, I think this video is going to be a bit longer than I expected, so I think it's best to end the video here. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and please remember to love yourself and be kind to everyone. Bye!